The Greeks tricked the Trojans in one of history's greatest deceptions. The tale of the Siege of Troy includes a massive wooden horse. This colossal structure hid soldiers inside its hollow belly. The siege lasted for 10 long years. The cunning plan began with the deceptive gift of the horse. They left the wooden horse at Troy's gates. The Trojans brought the structure inside their city walls. Hidden Greek soldiers emerged from the horse's belly. The main Greek army sailed back under the cover of darkness. The story of the Trojan horse is a timeless reminder of cleverness in warfare. The Trojan War, a cornerstone of Greek mythology, did not begin with a horse. Its origins lay in an act of passion and betrayal. The story tells of Helen, the queen of Sparta. Paris, a prince of Troy, visited Sparta. With the help of the goddess Aphrodite, Paris persuaded Helen to leave her husband Menelaus. Together, Paris and Helen sailed to Troy, sparking an outrage that would engulf the Aegean world. Menelaus turned to his brother Agamemnon, the powerful king of Mycenae. Agamemnon agreed to lead a vast Greek expedition to retrieve Helen and punish the Trojans. Thus, a massive fleet was assembled. Warriors from all corners of Greece answered the call to arms, sailing across the sea to the shores of Troy. The city of Troy, also known as Iliad, was a formidable opponent. It was located in modern-day Turkey, controlling strategic trade routes. Troy was protected by massive, well-built walls. The Trojans, led by their noble king Priam, were prepared to defend their city, their prince, and their new princess. For 10 long years, the Greeks laid siege to Troy. The war was not a continuous series of battles. It involved long periods of stalemate, punctuated by skirmishes, duels, and larger engagements. The sheer length of the siege tested the resolve of both sides. This decade of conflict set the stage for the desperate, ingenious plan to finally end the war. The Trojan War was a clash of mighty personalities, heroes whose names echo through millennia. On the Greek side, Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, served as the commander-in-chief. His brother Menelaus, the wronged husband of Helen, was a primary motivator for the war. Then there was Achilles, the greatest warrior of the Achaeans. His skill in battle was legendary, striking fear into the hearts of the Trojans. Another crucial Greek figure was Odysseus, the king of Ithaca. He was renowned for his intelligence, cunning, and eloquence. It was Odysseus who would eventually devise the plan for the Trojan horse. Other notable Greek heroes included Ajax the Great, a warrior of immense strength and courage, second only to Achilles. On the Trojan side, King Priam ruled the city. His most valiant son was Hector, the commander of the Trojan forces. Hector was a noble warrior, a devoted husband and father, and the primary defender of Troy. His brother Paris, whose abduction of Helen started the war, was also a key figure. Paris was more known for his charm and archery skills than for his bravery in close combat. Other important Trojans included Aeneas, a cousin of Hector and a valiant warrior. Cassandra, Priam's daughter, was a prophetess cursed by Apollo. These characters played out a grand drama of heroism, love, betrayal, and loss against the backdrop of the besieged city. Imagine the Greek soldiers, far from their homes and families for a decade. The siege of Troy became a grueling test of endurance. They lived in a sprawling camp on the shores near the city. Conditions were often harsh. Supplies were a constant concern, requiring foraging parties and raids on neighboring lands. Disease could sweep through the camp, further depleting their ranks. The morale of the Achaean army ebbed and flowed with the fortunes of war. For leaders like Agamemnon and Menelaus, honor and revenge were paramount. For the common soldier, the promise of spoils, gold, treasures, and captives was a significant incentive. Yet, as years turned into a decade, homesickness and a yearning for peace grew stronger. Internal conflicts also plagued the Greek camp. The most famous of these was the feud between Agamemnon and Achilles, detailed in Homer's Iliad. Agamemnon's seizure of Achilles' war prize, Briseis, led Achilles to withdraw from battle. This decision had devastating consequences for the Greeks, as they suffered heavy losses without their greatest warrior. After 10 years of relentless effort, a sense of desperation began to set in. This desperation was the fertile ground from which the idea of the Trojan horse would spring. Section 5. Troy's Steadfast Defense, a City Under Siege. Life within the walls of Troy during the decade-long siege was a testament to Trojan resilience. While protected by their formidable fortifications, the citizens faced their own unique hardships. The constant presence of a hostile Greek army just outside their gates created an atmosphere of perpetual tension and fear. Men were constantly called to arms to defend the walls or participate in sorties against the besiegers. Women and children lived with the ever-present threat of attack and the grief of losing loved ones in battle. The psychological toll of the siege must have been immense. The Trojans were fiercely determined to defend their homeland, their families, and their way of life. King Priam, despite his age, provided a symbol of stability, though he suffered greatly as he saw his sons fall in battle. The true champion of Troy was Hector. His bravery, skill, and leadership inspired the Trojan warriors. The long siege also brought practical challenges. While Troy was a wealthy city, sustaining its population and army over 10 years was difficult. Despite these pressures, the city held out. Section 6. Homer's Echo. The Iliad's tale of wrath and glory. When we speak of the Trojan War, the name Homer inevitably comes to mind. His epic poem, the Iliad, is the primary literary source for much of what we know, or believe we know, about this ancient conflict. The Iliad does not, however, cover the entire 10-year war, nor does it describe the famous Trojan Horse or the final sack of Troy. Instead, it focuses on a specific, crucial period in the 10th year of the siege. The poem's central theme is the wrath of Achilles, exploring the devastating consequences of the hero's anger and withdrawal from battle. The Iliad paints a vivid and often brutal picture of ancient warfare. It details heroic duels, massed battles, and the gruesome realities of combat. The gods and goddesses of the Greek pantheon play a significant role in the Iliad. They are not distant observers, but active participants in the war. Their quarrels and interventions often shape the course of events on the battlefield below. Section 7. A stroke of genius, Odysseus and the wooden stratagem. After a decade of bloody stalemate, the Greek forces were no closer to breaching Troy's formidable walls. Direct assaults had proven futile and costly. The morale among the Achaean troops was likely at a low ebb. It became clear that a conventional victory was out of reach. A new, audacious strategy was desperately needed if they were ever to conquer the city and reclaim Helen. The impetus for this cunning plan is widely attributed to Odysseus, the clever king of Ithaca, known for his sharp intellect and strategic thinking. The idea was deceptively simple in concept, yet incredibly bold in its execution. Build a giant hollow wooden horse. This horse would be presented as a votive offering to the gods, specifically Athena, to ensure a safe journey home for the departing Greeks. A select group of elite Greek warriors would hide inside the horse's belly. The rest of the Greek army would then pretend to abandon the siege, sailing away as if in defeat. Section 8. Building the Unthinkable, the Hollow Offering. The construction of the Trojan horse was a monumental undertaking, shrouded in secrecy and executed with skill. According to legend, the master craftsman Epeius was tasked with building this colossal wooden structure, aided by the goddess Athena. The horse had to be enormous, large enough to inspire awe and to conceal a significant number of armed warriors within its hollow interior. The design of the horse was crucial. It needed to appear as a convincing religious offering, perhaps dedicated to Athena to appease her for the sacrilege committed by the Greeks during the war, or to ensure their safe voyage home. Inside, a hidden compartment or series of chambers would have been constructed to house the chosen Greek soldiers. Once the horse was completed, it was moved to a prominent position outside the gates of Troy. Section 9. The Fall of a Kingdom Legacy of the Horse. Despite warnings from Laocoon and Cassandra, the Trojans made their fateful choice. Overjoyed by the apparent Greek retreat, they brought the wooden horse into their city. The horse was so large that part of the city wall had to be dismantled. The Trojans celebrated wildly, believing the war was over. As night fell, hidden Greek soldiers made their move. Led by Odysseus, they emerged from the horse and opened the gates. The Greek army poured into the city, and the slaughter began. The sack of Troy was brutal and merciless. The story of the Trojan horse became a timeless cautionary tale.